What's up, YouTube? The topic we're touching on today is going to change all your lives. I don't mean that in the clickbait like titles that you see on YouTube and everything like that. This is not a sales pitch. This is a practical tip that if you apply to your life today, you can get results and go further than you could have ever imagined. And what that tip is going to be enlightenment. It's going to allow you to be enlightened. Now, let me enlighten you guys on that. But before I do, hit that subscribe and like button. It goes a long way towards the channel. So when we talk about enlightened or what it means to be enlightened, that's a very broad topic, right? People think wisdom, people think being in touch with yourself, etc., etc. There's a lot of different ways you can go about that. But really what enlightenment is, it's another stage of human development. It's another stage of consciousness. It's being not only in touch with yourself, but the world around you and having a very deep connection to that world and yourself. And so once you approach life in that way as a developmental stage, you realize that enlightenment is the pinnacle, right? That is what everybody aspires to reach, whether or not you're doing it consciously or unconsciously. It's another developmental stage in the human psyche. Now, where do we get hung up? We get hung up through distractions. All of life is trying to pull us into different categories, into different identities, into different ways of being. Your job is trying to pull you one way. Your friends are trying to pull you one way. Family tries to pull you one way. And the more fragmented you are and the more things you have going on in your life, the more forces are trying to pull you in different ways. All of a sudden, you can become disassociated. Now, I don't want you guys to get lost in the language that I'm using or anything like that. That is just to say that you start to lose touch with yourself. You start to lose touch with what your core values are and what you want out of your life, because there are so many other forces that are speaking into your ears, trying to pull you into different directions. And so if you can just take this one tip, if you can take anything away from this video, it's going to be now. And that is focusing on the now, focusing on the present moment, focusing on how you feel and what you think in the present moment. Because for better or for worse, all these forces are pulling you apart. They're all trying to gather your attention. And so if you can say, hey, I recognize that this person wants that out of me, or this job entails that out of me, or that thing is drawing my attention right now. And you can observe that and then come back to yourself. You can always maintain your core. You can always maintain your sense of identity, your sense of self. And that is pivotal if you want to project yourself into a better future. Because you, if you are not present, cannot project yourself into a better future, right? If you are lost in the sauce of everyday existence, if you were lost in the grind, if you were lost in whatever thing that is trying to vie for your attention, there is no way to go from point A to B, right? Because you are constantly stuck in a cycle. And it's the people who become enlightened, they're the ones that are able to take a step back and witness the circle of their life. They're able to witness their repetitive behavioral patterns, the way that people communicate with them, you know, what they like, what they dislike, right? The ways that they prefer to be communicated to. And these are really crucial because if you ever look at an argument between two people, there's often a trigger point where one person gets triggered, they lose themselves, and all of a sudden they just become an expression of that emotional state, of that feeling or that thought. Next thing you know, the other person is getting triggered and they become an expression of that emotional state and that thought. And all of a sudden we have very little consciousness. We have very little awareness and observance of who we are in that moment. And we are just a cycle of vitriolic hatred. That goes with anger, but that goes with any human emotion, because all human emotions are stemming from our unconscious responses to the objective world, right? You have a thought, it pops into your mind. That thought leads to another thought, leads to another thought. All of a sudden, you saw a cockroach on the ground And next thing you know, you're thinking about how you forgot to submit an assignment because you still have to clean the room. Then you forgot about how you have to submit that assignment. Then you forget about like, oh, wait a second, I still need to call this person. And now your life is a constant stream of chaos. And so the way that you can deal with emotions, right, be they negative or positive, because positive emotions can also bring you back into the cycle because everything is balance, right? And everything is interconnected, right? So the way that you can sort of bring yourself back from this is to step back and observe the emotion. Observe that something triggered you. Observe that something caused you to think a certain thought. You know, like I don't believe that dark thoughts are innately immoral, right? You may have a sexual thought. You may have an evil, the most diabolical scheme ever enters your mind right now. Like we're talking about like channel 10 level diabolical. It may enter your mind because we're human, because we all share that good and evil within us, right? The way that you can transcend that and really, really live beyond time, live beyond this flux of thoughts and emotions that is a constant stream. The mind is always going left, right, forward, back, is to take a step back and just observe. Almost as if you were a third person and saying like he or she or they are going through X, Y, or Z right now. He, she, or they are feeling, etc., right? Are thinking, etc. But once you do that, you then get the power to decide how you act upon said thought, feeling, or anything. But I don't even want you to think about acting on these things. I want you to start thinking of your life like a movie, right? And that you are witnessing the movie. If you are witnessing the movie of your life, right, it allows you to sort of disassociate from the immediate feelings and thoughts that are trying to pull you into different directions. And it allows you to come back to who you are and your place and your being, right? And that's the power that this grants you. That's what it allows you to do, is to sort of reattain agency over your life, right? It all starts with being in the present moment. Many religions, many spiritualities all claim this exact same idea, which is be present, right? Because people who dwell in the past, they're caught in that cycle. They're always trying to go back into the past and reclaim something that was lost. Maybe a relationship, maybe a friend, maybe a family member, maybe some sort of old aspiration for themselves. This is the definition of a midlife crisis. You were trying to relive your early 20s. You were trying to relive something that was lost, but in reality, that was already lost. And so what that actually ends up in is lost time, right? Instead of you living in the present moment as a 40-something-year-old person, you are now caught living in another stage of your life, right? And that's what a midlife crisis is. And it's because of the anxiety and the internal fear that we have towards death. If you are human, you are afraid. You are afraid of something. And the core of all those fears always comes back to death, whether that be anxiety, agitation, disappointment, any emotion can really just come back to the very fact that we are dying. And the way to transcend death, the way to transcend all these things that can become distractions and that can pull us away from ourselves, is to be in the present moment and observe. Example, today I was headed to the cafe. My mind started racing about all the things I was going to do in the cafe. Not in a negative light. I wasn't like, wow, I'm going to be so stressed out because I have A, B, C assignments to do. I was like, I want to do this, that. And as my mind went down that rabbit hole, I became disassociated from the now, the here, the present. I was on this beautiful walk, sun shining, nice breeze, squirrels going by, right? I lost track of the present, right? Because the ideas will keep coming, but what you will lose track is of the present moment and the beauty that's entailed in that present moment. And if you can live your life, if you have the choice right now to either live your life in delusion about the future and the past, or to live in a constant stream of beauty, which one would you rather live in? That's it for today's video. I'm going to leave you guys with that. Ponder it. And I really hope that some of this sticks with you and that you start to apply this three-dimensional stance to life and be present at all times.